I want you to picture the ocean, but not the nice sunny beach version.
Right.
I'm talking about the deep, dark, open ocean. Now, usually when we talk about cyber attacks, we use this analogy of a fisherman, casting a massive net.
The trawler.
Yeah, the trawler, dragging it through the water, just hoping to catch anything. A minnow, a tuna, whatever. It's a numbers game.
It's all about volume.
But today we're talking about a completely different kind of hunter.
We are. We're leaving the nets behind entirely.
Yeah.
This is about the hunter who sits perfectly still, sometimes for months, ignoring thousands of little fish swimming by, just waiting.
For the Leviathan.
The big prize.
Biggest.
Yeah.
This is a concept called whaling. And before anyone gets concerned about marine biology, we're definitely talking about high-stakes digital espionage.
We are. And to help us sort of navigate these waters, we're digging into a whole stack of research from the folks at WeCyberYou.
Which is great, because the team at WeCyberYou really tends to look at these things through a very practical lens. It's not just fear-mongering. It's about unlocking the mechanics of how these things actually happen.
Exactly.
And that's a key point. This isn't just a standard deep dive. This is officially the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast.
Yeah.
The whole mission here is to take these topics that usually feel like you need a computer science degree to understand and make them accessible for the rest of us.
Which is so vital because the attackers, they aren't just targeting the tech wizards anymore.
No, they absolutely are not. So our mission today is to figure out how this specific type of attack works. How is it possible that highly intelligent, successful people, captains of industry, get tricked by an email? We need to understand the psychology behind it.
And psychology is the operative word there. It really is.
Okay, so let's start with the definition. We've all heard of phishing. We get those emails all the time. Dear user, your Netflix is broken. Click here. How is whaling actually different? Is it just phishing for rich people?
That's a good way to start thinking about it. But the real distinction is in the methodology. Standard phishing is a volume game. It's generic. It's what we call spray and pray.
Spray and pray?
Whaling is the opposite. It's a highly, highly targeted form of phishing. And it's aimed specifically at senior executives, business owners, high-level decision makers.
The big fish.
The whales. But here's the nuance that people often miss. It's not just about who they target. It's about the resource investment from the attacker.
Resource investment. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so think about a spam email.
Yeah.
That costs the attacker essentially $0 and 0 time to send to 1 million people. If they get a tiny, tiny fraction of a percent to click, they win.
It's pure volume.
Right. But a whaling attack, the attacker might spend 3 months researching a single target before they even send the first message.
3 months. On one person.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Because the payout isn't $100 from a stolen credit card. The payout is a $10 million wire transfer. Or it's the blueprints for a new product.
Yeah.
The ROI, the return on investment, it just completely justifies the effort.
That changes the whole dynamic. It makes it feel less like a random crime and more like a heist movie.
It is a heist. It's a long con.
Yeah.
The source material from WeCyberYou really emphasizes that these attacks are carefully researched and personalized. And that's the scary part. They aren't guessing.
So let's talk about the target. We mentioned executives. Is this just CEOs?
It's the C-suite, for sure. CEOs, CFOs are huge targets because they literally control the money.
Of course.
But it goes wider than that. It's anyone with authority. Board members, high-level managers.
So anyone who can sign a check.
Or anyone who can authorize a decision without needing to ask for permission. That's the vulnerability. If you're in a position where people don't really question your orders, you are a target. Because if the attacker can become you...
Nobody questions them either.
Exactly.
That's a chilling thought. We'll get to the impersonation in a second, but I want to stick on this research phase. You said months. What are they actually doing? Are they just stalking them?
Digitally. Yeah, pretty much. They're building a dossier. They're looking for what you could call the connective tissue of the target's life.
Okay.
Who do they trust? Who do they do business with?
So they're looking for vendors, partners?
Exactly. Let's say a CEO posts on LinkedIn that they're excited to be working with a specific law firm on a new merger.
Which people do all the time. Thrilled to partner with Smith & Associates.
Boom. Right there.
Yeah.
Now the attacker knows the name of the law firm. They can go to that firm's website, find the lead partner's name, maybe even find a sample of their signature or their writing style from a public document.
Oh, wow.
So now when they craft the attack email, they aren't pretending to be the bank. They're pretending to be Jim from Smith & Associates, asking for a retainer for that merger you just publicly announced.
And because you know Jim and you know about the merger, your brain just doesn't put up the red flag.
Your defenses are down because the context feels correct.
It's the context that kills you.
It is. The WeCyberYou data lists the common personas they adopt. Trusted contacts, board members, other CEOs, lawyers, even government agencies.
You know, the government one always gets me. If I see an email that looks like it's from the IRS or, some regulatory body, my blood pressure spikes immediately.
And that's a deliberate tactic. We call it emotional hijacking. But before we even get into the emotional side, just think about the structural access. If I can successfully impersonate a CEO, I can email a junior employee and ask for pretty much anything.
Like, hey, I'm stuck in a meeting. Can you pull the HR files for me?
Exactly. And the junior employee isn't going to say, no, prove it's you. They're going to panic and say, yes, sir, right away.
They're leveraging the organizational hierarchy against itself.
Precisely.
So we've got the research, we've got the impersonation. What's the actual goal here? Is it always money?
Money is the most direct goal, for sure. We call that wire fraud or invoice fraud. Tricking an executive or their assistant into authorizing a massive transfer to a vendor, that's really the hacker.
The old change of banking details trick, right? Please send payment to this new account.
That's the classic move. But the source material highlights two other major goals that are, arguably even more damaging long-term.
Okay.
One is data theft, intellectual property, customer lists, acquisition strategies.
Stuff you can sell to a competitor or just hold for ransom?
Yep. And the third is simply access.
Just getting in the door.
Gaining credentials. If I can get the CEO's login info, I don't need to trick anyone else. I'm the CEO in the digital system. I can read every email, access every file, see every cloud document. I can just lurk there for months.
That's the Leviathan waiting in the deep you were talking about.
It really is.
Okay, I want to pivot to the how, because I consider myself a reasonably smart person. If I got an email asking for $1 million, I'd like to think I'd pause. So how do they manipulate these really smart, successful people into actually pushing the button?
This is where it gets fascinating and terrifying. It's pure social engineering. The source mentions specific psychological triggers they pull. The biggest one, urgency.
Urgency, do it now!
But it's not just do it now. It's crafted. It's time-sensitive acquisition closing in 45 minutes. Or the regulators are on the line. We need this filed by 5:00 p.m.
But why does that work so well on executives? Shouldn't they be the ones who are best under pressure?
You'd think so, but consider what makes an executive successful. They're problem solvers. They're efficient. They have a bias for action. If they see a roadblock, their instinct is to clear it. The attacker weaponizes that very competence.
So they're using your own work ethic against you.
They're using your desire to be efficient. If you stop to verify, you slow down the deal. You become the bottleneck. And no executive wants to be the bottleneck.
That is just insidious.
And it pairs with a second trigger, secrecy.
Don't tell anyone.
Exactly. The source material specifically lists phrases like confidential or acquisition details or do not discuss with the team yet.
Oh, I can see the scenario. We're buying a competitor the press can't know, so handle this payment discreetly.
And what does that do? It isolates the victim. It completely removes the safety net of collaboration. Normally, if you got a weird request, you might poke your head into the CFO's office and say, hey, is this for real?
But if the email says top secret, eyes only, you don't do that. You stay in your silo.
And by the time you realize you've been played, the money has been laundered through 5 different countries.
It effectively breaks the herd immunity of the office. You separate one gazelle from the pack.
And then you attack.
The WeCyberYou material also talks about props. It's not just text in an email, is it?
No, not at all. To make the urgency and the secrecy believable, they need evidence. So they use fake documentation that looks incredibly legitimate.
So we're talking like photoshopped invoices.
Way better than that. We're talking about legal notices that use the correct letterhead, the correct font, even the right legal jargon of the actual law firm the company uses.
Wow.
They'll use acquisition documents that look pixel perfect.
So visually, your brain just scans it and goes, yep, this is official.
Exactly. Which leads us to the technical side of the deception. Spoofing.
Right. I wanted to ask about this. How do they make the email look like it came from the CEO? Don't we have filters for that kind of thing?
We do, but the attackers are clever. They use what are called cousin domains or lookalike domains.
Give me an example.
Okay, let's say your company is example.com. The attacker might go and register examp1e.com.
Using the number 1 instead of the letter L.
Right. Or, even more subtle, If your CEO's name is John, they might register an email address that looks like john@company.com, but maybe they use a Cyrillic O instead of Latin O.
Oh.
To the computer, it's a completely different character.
Yeah.
But to your eye, on a smartphone screen at 5:30 p.m. on a Friday, it looks identical.
That is the nightmare scenario right there. You're rushing to get home, you check your phone, you see an email from the boss, it looks right, the attachment looks real, and the subject line says urgent.
And you click.
And you click.
That is the perfect storm of a whaling attack.
It really just emphasizes how fragile our perception is. We think we're seeing reality, but really we're seeing what we expect to see.
And that's why these attacks are so devastating. Which brings us to the impact. Why does WeCyberYou flag this as so much more dangerous than just regular phishing?
Beyond the dollar amount, you mean?
The dollar amount is huge, yeah. Millions, usually.
Right.
But the source really points out the access and authority aspect. If a standard employee gets hacked, okay, maybe you lose some low-level data. But if a CEO gets hacked, the attacker has the keys to the castle.
They can pivot to anywhere else in the organization.
And then there's the reputational damage. This is something the WeCyberYou material really stresses. Just imagine the headlines. Tech giant loses $50 million because CEO fell for a simple scam.
It makes the entire leadership look incompetent.
It destroys trust. Shareholders panic. Customers start to wonder, if they can't protect their own bank account, how are they protecting my data?
It's a complete crisis of confidence.
It can end careers. It can tank stock prices. The stakes they're existential.
This feels like a good time to remind everyone that we aren't just trying to scare you. The whole point of this deep dive and the whole mission of the WeCyberYou Unlocked podcast is to empower you.
Right. These threats are real, but they're manageable if you understand how they work.
And WeCyberYou covers so much more than just whaling. This is just one specific, type of attack.
Oh yeah, the source material is really comprehensive. They cover the whole landscape. Frameworks, laws, regulations, even career paths in cybersecurity.
I think that's important. Cybersecurity isn't just about fighting hackers. It's about building a structure.
A culture.
A culture of safety, where people feel empowered to say, hey, this email looks weird, without fearing they'll get in trouble for slowing things down.
That cultural shift is the only real defense against whaling. You can have the best firewalls in the world, but if your CFO is tricked by a psychological play, the firewall doesn't matter.
You have to patch the human.
Patch the human. I like that. It means education. It means knowing these attacks exist. It means setting up verification protocols like we never authorize transfers over email, voice verification only, simple stuff.
Simple rules that break that urgency loop.
Exactly.
So if we boil this whole thing down, whaling is a hunt. It's patient, it's researched, and it targets the very people who probably think they're too smart to be caught.
It targets arrogance, in a way. Or at least it targets confidence.
It targets the very traits that make a leader effective. Their speed, their trust, their decisiveness.
Which is a cruel irony, isn't it?
It is. Now, for everyone listening who wants to go deeper on this, maybe you're an executive, maybe you're just trying to keep your company safe, you really need to check out the full library of content from our source.
Yeah, please do. Go to WeCyberYou.com.
That's WeCyberYou.com. They have educational content on everything we mentioned, frameworks, best practices, careers. It's a huge resource. And follow the channel, obviously.
It's the best way to stay ahead of the curve. Because these attackers, they're always evolving.
They are. And speaking of evolving, I want to leave you with a thought, something to chew on.
What's that?
We talked a lot about the research phase today, about how attackers find out who your vendors are, who your partners are, what language you use, and they find that because we put it all out there.
We just hand them the puzzle pieces.
We do. We live in an era of personal branding. LinkedIn, social media, press releases. We are told that to be successful, we have to be visible, we have to be loud, we have to share our wins.
That's thrilled to announce post.
Exactly that. But here's the tension. If whaling relies on detailed personal information, does having a high public profile inherently make you a security risk?
Is visibility the new vulnerability?
That's the question. Can you actually have a modern career without feeding the sharks?
It's a really difficult balance. You need that network to grow the business, but the network provides the intel to destroy the business.
It's almost like we need a new kind of digital street smarts, knowing what to share and what to keep to yourself.
Or maybe the more visible you are, the more skeptical you have to be of every single message that hits your inbox.
The brighter the spotlight, the deeper the shadows where the whalers hide.
That is a poetic, very terrifying way to put it.
Something to think about before you post that next status update. Stay safe out there, everyone. Watch out for the harpoon.
And verify those urgent requests.
You'll see you on the next deep dive.